Thank you, John. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Nilgiris Caves, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. Good afternoon, everybody. It gives me great pleasure to welcome my fellow panelists. We've done a bit of preparation and hopefully we will stick to what we have discussed and finish on time. We've got 90 minutes, so we'll go through till about 1:30. The topic given to us, human-wildlife interaction and conflict mitigation strategies. And even before we came, we were clearly told this is in some sense the centerpiece of these 3 days. Everybody's eyes and ears and attention is going to be on this. No pressure at all. The fact is, what we are seeing is a symptom of a problem. If we view conflict from only a mitigation approach, at best, we are doing band-aid solutions that do not very nicely. At least the band-aid, when applied to an injury on our limbs or fingers, does some good. But most conflict mitigation strategies, unfortunately, are civil engineering oriented, ecologically illiterate, environmentally destructive. A lot of money goes in, money which could have been spent much more usefully and fruitfully and productively and sustainably if there was a plan which is based on knowledge, which is based on science, which involved monitoring, evaluation, honest feedback, inclusive approaches, willingness to admit we screwed up, that we did mistakes and we are willing to learn from those mistakes. But that doesn't seem to be the manner in which today's society wants to function. These are problems which are accumulated over several decades. These are not problems that have become overnight. And to then expect either the animals to behave themselves or wildlife managers to somehow control these animals. And believe me, this is not a circus we are dealing with. This is a real life situation. Wild, free-ranging mammals. I don't know whether populations have come up, but clearly sightings are increasing. Sightings in human-dominated habitats is increasing. I'm not sure that's an indication whether the native populations have gone up. It could well be displacement, changes in behavior, animals getting to learn human-dominated habitats being good sources for their food and so on and so forth. So I think it's important for us in our minds to define this issue carefully, deliberately, and with thought. Do not expect at the end of 90 minutes to get some magic bullet solution, silver bullet solution. That's almost impossible. I think we would have done a good job if we asked the right questions through these presentations, present somewhat of a status update as to where the situation is and what could potentially be steps forward. And this has to be long term. Again, this is not like turning a light on or off. These problems cannot be resolved overnight. So I hope I have tempered down the expectations from this panel without necessarily undermining our credibility or what we will bring to this table. I think today we don't have the media. Yesterday we did have. One of the problems is the kind of language we use to describe these interactions. Words that come to mind: wild elephants are straying, or leopards are straying, or bears are straying. Who has strayed? We have strayed. If we use the term straying, the action then is to stop straying, which means barriers or capture or movement. And we use terms like problem animals. The animals are not the problem. We have to understand it's how we have behaved, how we have developed, destroyed, which has created the problem. Rogue elephants, man-eating tigers, And it's very important. If somebody uses this language, kindly interject, explain why such language should not be used, and we need to use much more appropriate language.
So the simple answer is that involve them in wildlife management. See, now, see, for mitigation or any mitigation measures, forest department is doing it. But suppose that fund will go to panchayat or gram sabhas, and panchayat will decide with the community participation. It will definitely go to people. And also, it's important to have social auditing for everything. What money we spend on ground, the quality of the mitigation measures, what department or any organizations, that's also very important, I think. I just want to add a quick point to this, Anoop. We also work in the Wayanad area, and Team Joseph, who the biodiversity committee member there, um, pointed out that numbers we're talking are very small. The panchayat's budget is 2 orders magnitude greater than the forest department budget already. It's more that this is seen as the problem of the forest department and not the problem of the district collector or the panchayat. So channeling funds from a very scarce department to a very rich department, I don't think is required. It just needs a reorientation of what is the role of the panchayat and make them use what funds they have for this. Like in Wayanad, it's each panchayat is multiple crores. Compared to the forest department, Wayanad is quite cash compared to the tiger reserves. So I think it's not necessarily about channeling funds, but whose problem is this? And should funds? I fully agree that funds should go to local communities. But the panchayats have those funds. Should be on their mandate to manage wildlife better, I think.
Regarding the trash cans, the municipality follows the concept of binless city. So that is why the trash cans are not there. So whether that is working or not, that is up to them to verify that. And then we are not stopping them to putting up any cans, but we suggest them to put up any cans that are animal friendly. Like in sense, it's multi-proof. That's the only criteria that we fix on, and it's better. See, as we see that the trash are everywhere, it's better to have bins that in case if we are asked for, we will suggest the bins to be kept. But no, not here. All the municipalities around the places are following this concept of binless city. So they are that is to promote the door-to-door collection, and that how successful that is the point of another discussion. Yes. Regarding the camera trap, we are okay with people having knowledge about the animals that are moving in their property. But that going into the social media and attracting a lot of people, that's where the problem is. The treasure should be kept as a treasure only. Yeah, that is why because it's a huge landscape. It's a huge landscape, and then we are dealing with lots and lots of tea estates. But if we make things so obvious, then it's risky for the wildlife. That's why it's just solely from the wildlife conservation point of view, nothing else.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that is a good question. It is definitely possible. But the amount of time and energy it takes from the landowner to install these and work with it is phenomenal. And only dedicated people like you will probably do it. Everybody wants, sorry, let me just finish. Most people want quick fix solutions. And it takes a very long time to grow a hedge and to kind of do what's called green barriers. It's a part of the idea. So it may work, but for policymakers and local people, people are looking for faster, easier solutions. But fair point, we should definitely try hedges. At the moment, it's very difficult for any local people to see any benefit. Tourism is the obvious kind of thing that people talk about. I had a slide before that I took out that we have this SMS-based warning system in Valparai that works really well. They send warning messages to people and they all move away from the elephants. We started doing that in Goodload. We send warning messages to people and they all congregate to see the elephant. So tourism, people already want to see elephants. People are very enthusiastic about it. But building on yesterday's discussion, I feel because it's been such an unregulated space,
there's almost too much tourism, all kinds of bad tourism. There's all sorts of things going on that nobody wants to engage with this. So we have to reinvent the tourism industry, and that's maybe the only kind of positive thing that will come from it. But for me, this is vital. It's not just outside tourists, even local people, whenever they see elephants, they all stop working and they watch it very happily, right? So tourists are willing to pay money. Local people are willing to invest opportunity costs, like lost labor and time to sit and watch animals. People love animals. This is something we should build on. I definitely think something we're not doing well. Like even when thousands of people come to see an elephant, it's something positive there, but it's also something negative. We only recognize the negative. We impose Section 144, ban them, but we don't recognize they come from wanting to see the elephants. So it's something that needs a lot of thought and something we need to work on. But it's no easy solution because we are such a densely populated place and there are so many people that even I, as resident of Gudlu, don't want anybody more coming to Gudlu also. It's just horrible to move around at all now. But we need to figure out, we can't not have people coming. It is important for the economy of that to balance that out.
The previous panels, there has been information shared about climate change. And if I remember correctly, only in the gaur presentation, there was a mention of climate change. And the idea was not to present climate change data in this panel. We are feeding on what was presented earlier in the conference to move the discussion forward. As I began this session, to expect somehow wildlife management and research to answer issues related to wildlife human interactions and conflict in isolation is unrealistic. This is not a Disney movie. Don't expect a happy ending if the beginning and the middle of the movie we screw up everything else. As I said, what we are seeing today is a symptom of what the majority of the budget is doing. What is the budget of Nilgiris district? How is it allocated? What is it being spent on? And what impacts those activities are having on nature, habitat, wildlife, local communities? Those are the questions we really need to ask. And from that dialogue, hopefully some answers will emerge. We already have sufficient knowledge to tell us what we should not do, where we should not go. Are we using that knowledge? No. Let's be frank about it. Somehow development is seen as destruction of nature. There's no other way to do it. Glass, concrete, steel, roads, buildings, those seem to be hallmarks of development, not harmonization with the local environment, architecture which is appropriate, resource use which is appropriate. And unless we have that long-term, all-encompassing, comprehensive vision, we can meet new escapes 50-55, and we still will be discussing these very same topics. I don't want to be a pessimist. I do have hope. Otherwise, I would be selling alcohol and tobacco and making a lot more money. Conservation requires the long-term commitment, and I've been doing it for about 40 years. There are younger people on the panel, and I'm sure they will bring their knowledge, their skills, their network, their commitment, their energy to make things look much more positive. So it's really the type of development we want, not look at development and conservation as opposing forces, but really part of the same coin. It's if we want a good future, we have to come together. Thank you very much.